Hello, and welcome back to the little Gargoyles deep dive that we're doing on our new to this, no, not new to the scene, seen by few, with Nick and Lance.
Yeah. Hi.
That's us.
You doing okay? You're looking good this week.
Oh,
You doing something different? Hair? Maybe you dropped a little weight? Maybe you put weight on. It looks good on you either way.
all right. So this month we're doing episodes 29, 30, 31, and 32 of season 2 as it appears on Disney Plus.
Yes.
So if you're watching on the DVDs, I guess just listen to what episodes we say.
Yeah. Just
Yeah, because I was going to say check IMDb, but they got it in, I guess,
so
proper order.
Yeah.
On IMDb, whereas Disney Plus is putting it in the order that it would have aired
Right.
on TV.
So basically on IMDb, they're saying MIA is episode 30, Grief is episode 31. Then we go back to Kingdom, which is episode 26.
And then we're going to 32.
And then you shoot forward to, yes,
Yeah, so we're doing MIA. We're doing
Grief.
Grief. We're doing Kingdom. Then we're doing the Hound of Ulster. Hound of Ulster.
The Hound of Ulster.
So
You want to get sued?
You want to get sued? So I guess we'll start. Yeah, generally with these, we throw our score, then we're talking about the episodes. And occasionally we kind of talk about what's upcoming in the series.
But not too much, because
Not-
I don't remember a lot of it, and Nick doesn't want to like ruin my first time watching second through.
Yeah, well, I also usually kind of clear it by Lance. Like, are you musing to me, or do you want the answer? And sometimes he wants the answer. Sometimes it's musing to himself.
There's some characters I care about more than others. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's sometimes I'll beg. So we give our scores, and then we talk about the episode, and there are spoilers.
Yeah.
But we won't try and delve too far ahead,
Yeah.
although Nick can do that.
Yeah,
So-
on occasion. So I guess if this is your first time ever watching, like we're revisiting Gargoyles. We've got memories of the future upcoming.
So you've been warned, and here we go with scores for MIA Nick.
Yes.
What did you give MIA from 0 to 10? 0 being this is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life, and I want to claw my eyes out of my fucking face, and 10 being it's not quite cats, but really damn good.
MIA is the one with Griffin,
Yes.
Una, and such.
And Leo.
Yeah, and Leo. So this one's okay. I think I'm gonna give it 6.
We're off to a good start.
All right. What about you, Lance?
I'm gonna give this one a 7.
Oh, see, I was a little conservative.
So spoilers.
Yes.
The reason I gave this one a 7 is I really like the animation in this one.
This one was pretty good. I like the when Goliath like gets shot in the wing and you can see like the little hole.
Yeah.
They did a lot of little stuff like that. That's kind of cool.
And they kept the continuity on that one too. So, do we give like all the scores like up front before we talk, or do
No, we'll do it we'll talk about this episode, then we'll get to the scores first.
we? Okay, sorry. It's going to be confusing. Maybe eventually we can add some breaks down there where you can hear like the scores and then skip to this point if you want the next score for the
Yeah,
next
if you
episode.
watch all of it.
So, watch all of it. But yeah, the animation was really good in this one. Voice acting was really good in this one. The story was really good.
There's like the interesting twist or whatever, like when he shows up and people are pissed at him and he's like, why are you pissed at me? And then he goes back in time and makes them pissed at him.
Yeah, and technically, by timey-wimey rules and standards, they did it right. You know, he shows up, doesn't know who the fuck they are. He's like, I guess I have to use the Phoenix Gate. Goes back, meets him. And then they do all their little shenanigans back then.
Yeah, and then it's kind of, he comes to the realization that like, the reason why they're pissed at me is like, Griffin's got to go. But that doesn't mean I can't take him to the future with me.
Right, and they find out that he's basically in a Final Destination episode where it's like, death wants your ass, and it's going to keep doing. It's going to keep trying to drop airplanes on you until you're dead.
Yeah.
So I'll take you into the future, where I imagine death is in like crazy overdrive, where like all of a sudden buildings are toppling on him because it's like I had to wait 50 years, 50 years to get you. But I liked how you bring him into the future, and then he figured out the loop. I thought it was done rather well.
It was cool. And I kind of like how clever you get to see Goliath be sometimes.
Which is a nice change of pace. Because he makes a lot of dumb fucking calls.
He does. But I mean, I think he's smart, but he is easily provoked and prodded. I mean, even at the beginning when they're just kind of like, he wakes up and he's like, "Hey, we stole your friends," and he's like, "Well, I don't even know you," and he's just like fucking pissed, and he's like, "I swore I'm never going to use this shit, but I'm going to go back in time and figure out why you're so pissed at me."
Yeah, and I mean, it makes sense. It's logical, you know, because that had to have been the only answer that you could derive.
Yeah.
You know me, I don't know you. There's a fucking statue of me in the middle of town of a dude I don't know that's obviously a griffin. But as far as like the expanded lore of like gargoyles in the world, I thought they were neat additions.
Yeah, and there's also like a tiny line that he says, like, "Oh, you're Scottish stock,"
Yes.
which means that I guess in England, gargoyles looked more like mythical monsters because you got one that looks like a lion, maybe kind of, I guess lion and griff together kind of make up the sort of griffin thing since lions are both, or griffins are both of them.
Yeah.
Then you had kind of the unicorn looking ones. So maybe they're a bit more animalistic.
That would explain a lot of coterie of arms over there. Or they have like unicorns and lions and shit on there.
And why like the lions and the griffins or the griffins are kind of like the protectors, and they're kind of on their coats of arms. So that and gargoyles like to protect.
Yeah, I mean it's I do like that. I mean, there's say what you want to about some of the episodes and the writing of some of the episodes, but at least whoever was writing these was trying.
Yeah, and I think they've got their shit together. That they have an idea of kind of like, here's some legends here. Let's go here and kind of put a gargoyle's twist on it.
Right. Now, what I do have a bone to pick at this point is going back to the episode of Heritage.
Okay.
Which was the Native American one. So not only were they making Indians extinct back then, but they basically just killed off all of the gargoyles for the Native Americans because, like, the totem was the signet of what the gargoyles were.
Well, I'm not even sure if that was true or not because that was said by the trickster guy.
I mean, I would like to think that. I mean, totems are actually, they're an actual thing.
Yeah.
So I would like to think that maybe that was a link to what could have been Native American gargoyles. But then basically they just kind of went extinct since the trickster Raven was basically just creating them.
Well, I mean, that could be too. But I mean, when you look at them, they're just like animals with wings. They didn't really look gargoyle-like, whereas like Griff and Leo and Una actually looked... They had the shape of gargoyles, but just kind of like the features of animals.
Yeah.
So I think that was just... What was his name? No, it wasn't Coyote.
No, it wasn't
It was Raven.
It was Raven.
Raven was the trickster guy. I think he was just kind of... He saw gargoyles. And since they are, of the third race or whatever, they know that like they have the full idea of what's going on in the world, whereas humans kind of don't. And in order to trick a gargoyle, you're just kind of like, look, totems are actually gargoyles, and we were your friends all along.
And they were just like, okay, I'll drink the tea. Sure, why not?
Yeah.
But yeah, this was by far to this point one of my favorite episodes of the season.
Okay, it's definitely fun. I like you have got gargoyles fighting Nazis, although they don't really put the swastika.
There's no swastika, but you do see the Iron Cross on like the I think they're called, was it the Nazis flew the, I can't remember what they're called.
No, I don't know.
But yeah, you do see the Iron Cross at least. And of course, every good show needs a Nazi punching episode.
Sure.
So, yeah, this one was highly enjoyable. I did like this one a lot. I also liked that it came back around to the point of in the basement when she was like, we don't know who you are. We didn't do anything to you. Well, your friend Goliath left you. And he's just like, he'd never do that. And it's like, well, we needed his help. We kind of like pulled him into it. And I just like Leo he had the revelation. Well, probably that's been the problem the entire time.
Yeah, we've been closed off from, cause even since the 40s or whatever, they've not wanted to fuck like with human affairs. It's like just to leave that thing alone.
They're terrible gargoyles.
Yeah, but then it kind of came up that like human problems become gargoyle problems. And yeah, you can't live amongst people and not have their problems kind of
drift onto you.
Yeah, eke into your life. You kind of have to. We're all in this together.
Yeah, but it's like if you're going to proclaim yourself as guardians,
Which I don't think they did per se, but
Griff definitely did.
Griff did, yeah.
But it's like they lost their role. They lost what, I don't know. They opened a bookstore and then they thought that they were serving the community by, I don't know, making people literate. A big service to the community. Don't get me wrong.
I think it was like a magic store. Hence why they're wearing crazy costumes that are aligned with kind of that whole line of things. Although, like when you go to a store and like you're looking at a horse lady and like the mouth is moving articulately, you're like, that's a damn good fucking costume.
Yeah, no. I mean, honestly, if I went into a store and there was a horse lady working the counter and like a lion man walking around, like when I went to go check out, I'd be trying to strike up conversation with the horse lady and I'd be staring into her mouth and being like, how do they get the tongue to move like that?
I know,
it's so wet. Look at the teeth. She's got a cavity. They went really into detail. Like,
no, yeah.
I'd walk out of that store and be like, shitting myself.
I want to go back sometime, or is it kind of like, no, screw that?
Yeah, no, it's the best furry costume I've ever seen in my life.
My God, the furry community in London is thriving.
Yeah, dude, they are getting into it. And
it's got to cost tens of thousands of dollars.
I think I'm kind of into it now, too.
I hope this doesn't awaken something in me.
It's my favorite line in Community. Jim Rash had the best lines. But yeah, that's my overall on the episode.
And I don't remember that we see Leo and Una again, but we do see Griff at least. Not yet, but in the future. Like Griff's going to come back around.
I don't know that.
Okay.
Like I honestly I don't remember.
You don't remember that?
The thing that I've loved, like when you were like, let's do a review on the Gargoyles show. Like at first I was kind of like, does anybody want to see that? And then I was like, this is a show you used to love, in when you were younger, like it. And then it was kind of like, okay, I was in love with the idea. Now that I'm watching them again, there are certain episodes where I'm like, I remember that, and there are a lot of episodes where I'm like, I don't remember any of this. So, but to be fair, the ones that I think I rate higher are the ones that I remember, and the ones that I rate lower are the ones that are just kind of gone.
Well, it's probably you still have an inkling of remembering them because they were good back then, and that you liked them back then, and I like them again as an adult.
Yeah, and it's been a lot of fun, like rewatching these episodes. Like MIA, I remembered Griff. The next episode we're about to do, I'm not going to say what the rating is on it, but I did not remember that episode. So I thought that was kind of crazy. Just to give a little bit of information on some of the voice talent in this episode. So you had Greg Berger, who's also the voice of Grimlock. He did the voice of Leo, the Lion Man. You had Jeff Bennett, who was Clive in this episode. I don't remember who Clive was in this episode.
Well, Jeff Bennett is Owen, I think, in Brooklyn. I think so. Clive was maybe one of the pilots or something.
Maybe
the big like main voice actors would be Leo, or I guess guest voice cast would be Leo, Una, and Griff.
Right. So Una was Sarah Douglas. She's been in a few things here and there. To name a few, she's been in Superman 2, and Superman 2: The Donner Cut. She was in V for Vendetta as Pamela. In Superman, she played a character named Ursa. Now, I don't remember who that is off the top of my head. It's been a very long time since I went back and watched the Richard Donner Supermans, but when I saw the Brandon Routh movie, I wanted to go back and watch them. Because I actually liked the Brandon Routh movie, and I know I'm a super minority.
Well, I liked it the first time I watched it, and then I tried to watch it a second time, like after I bought it on DVD, and I fell asleep during it because it was not very exciting.
It's
so
slow.
I think that it's kind of like when it's new to you, like this is interesting, but then like once you know it and you're kind of revisiting, you're like, okay, the pacing could stand to move a little quicker. But that was years ago at this point in time. Maybe at this point I'd be a bit more interested in.
We've only, to be fair, I've only seen it the one time. We saw it the one time in the theater, and I walked out like, that was a very good tribute.
I probably went to see it with you.
I think. I'm pretty sure you did.
Yeah.
Because I remember standing outside of the movie theater.
And we had the discussion. Because I remember seeing it in the theater, it was good.
Yeah.
I like Brandon Roth as Superman. There's just that one scene where, like, I guess that would happen, but it's weird to see it when the bullet bounces off his eyeball.
Yeah, well, I guess they just have to be like, what's the most sensitive thing other than the testicles on the human body? The eyeball. Let's show how strong this guy really is.
Which, I mean, I guess it makes sense.
Because I think,
but at the same time, it's weird to see.
He even got shot in the eyeball with like a machine gun, right?
It was I think it was like a chain gun or something like that, like a minigun.
Well,
it was high caliber bullets just bouncing right off the eyeball.
Yeah, it's they just have to show you how insanely strong this dude is. But I really liked him because I did like the Richard Donner movies back in the day, but like,
Well, I guess
I don't remember much about him now.
Well, I guess if people wanted us to compare the old Christopher Reeve movie to the what's his name, Witcher. Who played the Witcher?
Oh, Cavill.
Cavill. I mean, we have.
Then all they'd have to do is request it.
I mean, we got a series for that. Mm-hmm. And I think there's only 2 firsts movies beyond the old serials and stuff like that. Because Superman Returns was indeed the 3rd movie redone. So not quite a remake.
So it doesn't qualify?
That would be, we'd have to compare something else. Or just do that movie ourselves. It would be the Reeve one and the Cavill one.
Okay.
I mean, we could throw that one in there just for shits and giggles, but it wouldn't technically be.
We can also read the script for the Superman movie that would have had Nicolas Cage in it.
No.
No, we're not going to do that.
No. All right. So, is there anything else we want to say about MI?
No. I think that covered most of the voice talent from the episode. Crap. Work with me here, IMDb. Let's see. Is there anybody I missed? Neil Dixon was Griff. I don't know who that is. Mm-hmm. And Frank Welker, as always, is Bronx. That dude's is the most talented animal person in the world. Okay, no, I think we're done.
I don't know.
With this
They keep hiring Alan Tudyk to do chickens and pigs or whatever else he's doing.
I went to Juilliard. That's my favorite clip of Alan Tudyk ever. Okay,
Look it up on YouTube. I've seen it before. It's funny.
it's awesome. It's probably my favorite Alan Tudyk line ever, and he's had a lot of them.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on.
Yep. Would you like to align your numbers for Grief?
Yes. So, what did Nick give Grief? I'm going to go out on a limb and say this one.
All right, you ready?
Yes.
I'm going to give this one a 7.
Did you say a 7?
A 7. Yay.
Kid's hot tonight.
What about you?
I gave MIA a 7, correct?
Yep.
I'm going to give Grief an 8.
Oh, wow. I went down because I know you don't. I'm not a huge fan of the pack.
I do not like the pack, but I will explain myself.
Oh yeah, this episode is pretty cool. I have always liked Egyptian stuff. Mm-hmm. So when Gargoyles, the thing I liked, went to Egypt, a place I was interested in, and like went into the Sphinx and dealing with Anubis and stuff, I'm like, that's fucking dope.
I thought the animation was gorgeous.
Oh, it is. This one, the way they had the jackal as Anubis. He looked real fucking cool.
He looked fucking dope. And then the voice over the voice.
Oh, yeah.
That shit sounded hype.
It was pretty cool.
It was. Like, somebody put a lot of loving care into this particular episode.
And there was, like, 2 roles in this that I think were kind of... I'm like, I know those people. Tony Jay as Anubis. He's just kind of got that voice that you recognize. He's in, like, he did a lot of voice work, like, near the end of his life. And I always recognize his face from Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman, because I used to watch that show on TV like way back in the day. He was in like 7 episodes as
Kal-El?
No, Lex Luthor's butler.
Oh.
And he was kind of the one that he would bounce his evil plans off. And he's like, "Excellent, sir," and stuff like that. It was good. I liked his voice.
The thing that took me aback is have I made you watch Time Bandits?
I have watched Time Bandits, but I don't think I've watched it for the show. I think it was just kind of like, you gave me DVDs and were like, please watch these, and I watched Time Bandits.
Okay, so he was the supreme being in Time Bandits. So Time Bandits is one of my favorite movies of all time. Don't ask me why. It's fucking weird. It is. It's really weird, but I mean, what do you expect? It's a Terry Gilliam movie. And Terry Gilliam makes a lot of fucking crazy movies. But I loved Time Bandits when I was a kid. I still love the movie to this day. And then going back and finding out that this dude was the supreme being, where he's the dude that's like, return the map, the big fucking head that was chasing him down. And at the end of the movie, he's like, oh, hello. He's just some lovely English gentleman that's just like, nope, gotta have this map back. Sorry, kid. Your life sucks now. You know, like, it was fucking weird seeing that was that guy.
Yeah. And we also had Tony Shalhoub as what was his the
So Tony Shalhoub played
Amir?
Amir, or the Amir.
yeah, the Amir. I'm assuming that's a title or something like that. I'm not
I don't know.
truck. I don't know.
You had Cree Summers, Hyena.
Yeah.
You had Matt Frewer as Jackal.
Yeah. Every time I see his face, I'm like, I think we do this episode. I'm like, oh shit, it's that guy.
It's fucking Max Headroom.
Yeah, yeah.
It's fucking let's. So
Which I think he's got a great voice too.
he does, and like I don't remember what his name was, but he was also in the Watchmen movie. He was Moloch
Okay.
in the Watchmen movie, and I thought he was great.
I don't remember that.
So Moloch was the guy that when Rorschach he goes to question him because something happens and he's like, I know you're behind it, Moloch, because like Rorschach is just he's after him because he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
And then like he goes in and catches Rorschach is caught off guard by Moloch, and he was like he just came here and he started crying. Like he thought it was so fucking weird what was going on. But I don't want to explain it because there might be some people out here that haven't seen The Watchmen. But
it was a movie.
Yeah, but it was great because he was just like he was like a magician bad guy. And fucking when Rorschach came into his house, the dude was like so overwhelmed and underpowered that he didn't know what the fuck to do. So it was like you watched Batman beat the fuck out of the Joker, and the Joker was just like, I'm not in costume right now. I don't have my makeup on. Like, what do you want from me right now, dude? It was great.
Yeah, and I also remember he was the neighbor in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
I don't remember that.
Okay. He was the one that always wanted to go on vacation or whatever, and I had like wanted to go fishing or some shit, I think. He had like a fishing hat with hooks or some shit. I think. I've not seen that movie in a long time.
I think I've seen that movie exactly once. And I think it was when Amber, she was like talking about it one time, and I was like, fuck it, let's just watch it. Because I like Rick Moranis, so I'll watch it.
Oh, yeah. I like those were enjoyable movies, I think. At least the first one. Like, I don't remember the other ones super well.
I think the other ones were like straight to DVD. I could be wrong, though. But this episode, to me, was the best episode of the season.
Oh, okay.
Thus far. Love the animation, love the premise. I loved the lesson.
Yep.
I liked. I was just really digging what they were putting down in this episode.
I also like how unfazed Anubis is. It's kind of like he knew that like I'm going to absorb you, and he's like okay, and once he did, he like oh I understand. So he would like why was Anubis so unfazed? He's like no, this guy's reasonable. He'll understand.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like he didn't really have a choice, and he's like, "Well, I'm going to make myself an avatar of you," and Anubis just like,
All right, are you?
do what you're gonna do. I'm not gonna try and talk you out of it.
I'm stuck. I mean, what am I going to do?
Yeah, it was great. Like it had the confidence of a god.
Yeah.
Facing off with a mortal who does not understand the fucking machinations of the universe.
Yeah, like you took my son from me. You had the power to bring him back. It's like you can't mess with that shit.
No, death don't play favors.
Yeah.
Get that shit out of here. Like it was a great episode. And it was beautifully animated. I thought that Hyena looked so fucking cool when he was like avatar of Jackal. Like the way he was turning his hair, his fucking hit, his hair in it, or it was just great.
And when he's like using the little power thing or whatever that would like age the people. I think that the aging and de-aging looked pretty cool.
It did.
Coyote getting turned to rust.
That was great.
That looked fucking cool.
He did not come back at the end of that episode.
Not this episode, no.
Well, okay. Well, I'm guessing he's coming back.
I think they. I mean, he's a robot.
He's a fucking program.
Yeah, he's a program.
Yeah, and Xanatos doesn't even care to put him in a different body.
He puts him in different bodies.
But he's had that broke ass head.
He doesn't break his head because I'm assuming that chip is or whatever in the head. And plus, we need to remember that it's
cartoon.
It's Coyote or whatever. It is. It's not just a robot that he is speaking through. It is
Coyote.
It is Coyote.
Okay. I don't. If he comes back again, I don't remember it.
I don't remember. He may be. I think he might. It's at this point. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I do not remember. But very good episode.
I like this one.
Very good lesson.
We get to see crocodiles turn to bones.
They don't come back either, I'm pretty sure. But I mean, so Nick and I had to. So Normally, we watch these separate.
Yeah.
Then we get together. We don't talk about them. We sit down, and then we basically try and guess. Like the number game that we do is all pretty.
It's mostly for us.
Yeah, it's mostly for us, but it's usually pretty above board because when we come over, Nick is a fucking blank slate. I don't talk about it, and it takes everything in me not to talk about it. But tonight, I just started a new job, and I'm loving the job so far. So I don't have a lot of time to watch episodes here, or if I'm able to squeeze them in at lunch at work. So he came over when I was in the middle of grief. And we had a small debate where
when he says, I think he said something about using the word can, because it's I or can't or something like that.
Yeah.
I can't meddle with
I can't give back
what is
long gone, long dead.
But
I can return energy of that which was stolen.
Yeah.
So Hyena nukes a fucking city.
Yeah.
And turns it to rubble, which I'm only imagining everyone in that city died.
Which I would think is Cairo, isn't that where the Sphinx is? Or a lot of times when people show Egypt, they show the Sphinx and the pyramids, and I don't know if that's the truth or not.
I don't know. I've never been to Egypt.
Yeah, I do know that the Great Pyramids are like right there. Like you see a city, and then you look over, and then there's the pyramids.
That'd be a great place to build one. Look at that view. That's so nice. But yeah, he destroys that city.
Yep.
And then the Avatar understands what he was asking.
Yeah.
And gives the life force back
to the part like the people in the temple. He returns Wolf, Hyena, and then like the Gargoyles and all these.
Well, he restored what wasn't dead.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure.
But nothing in the temple was dead. I guess except for Coyote.
Yeah, he drained life and he drained age.
Yeah.
But they
don't show the reversal happen to anything in the city. But when they leave the Sphinx, like the trees outside, are in good health.
And and it seemed like the Sphinx itself was in better condition.
So I'm assuming that he returned he undid everything that Jackal did. But they don't show it.
Well, I mean, you don't see him die. No. So maybe like people are just like, oh man, saved up a lifetime, built this beautiful house here in Cairo. I just like, what the fuck, No,
I think it's through the use of the word "can't," because like if someone like put a gun in your hand, it's like shoot your wife. I'm like, I can't. It's not. You're not saying like no, you physically you can. It's that like that stupid thing that teachers say like, can I go to the bathroom? I don't know. Can you?
Yeah.
Bah, bah, bah. I'm a teacher. Say may, please. So I think I feel it's more of in the like I can't do that because it goes against my principles or whatever. Like,
it makes sense. It makes sense, but
there's also the possibility that he literally can't, and that's kind of the meaning. Is everyone out there dead? I don't think so. I think he restored. I think he undid everything Jackal did, but they don't show it directly. So.
We'll never know.
I don't know.
Who knows?
Maybe so. I've bought the comics. I've yet to crack one open because we've been doing this show, and I'm like, I want to wait until we finish, and then I'm going to get to the comics. But then I also found out that in January they are reissuing the trade paperback of the first 6 issues of the original comic run.
Nice.
So I'm going to be now. I'm like, well, now I got to wait for that to come out.
You're going to keep pushing yourself back.
More and more to the point that eventually I'm probably just going to crack and start reading them and maybe be a little lost. Hopefully, it's not so hard to catch up on.
I feel like
probably figure that out.
I feel like you got them pretty fresh in your mind.
Probably. So it's more of I never read all of the old comics. I only read like 4 issues of like the 12 that were potentially available or something.
It's 4 more than I've read.
Yeah.
And I think I've got a good bit of them downstairs.
Although something interesting that I'll bring up, I guess now in the middle of this video.
Okay.
So I saw a preview on YouTube of they're remastering the old Gargoyles Sega Genesis game, and they're going to put it on Steam, as well as like pretty much all of the consoles. And that's coming out October. So when we film this, it's like we're filming before it's come out. But by the time this episode is out, you can go get yourself a remaster version of the old Sega Genesis Gargoyles game with both the original graphics, and you can like hit a button and do like the new remastered graphics.
Oh. Sega, send us money. Wait,
that's for like if I don't know. It's just a thing that happened to like I happened to stumble across. I don't know how well publicized it is, but
Nick?
if you're a fan of the old Sega game, which I used to love that fucking game.
Yeah. I vaguely remember it.
I remember bits of it. I know there's
Vaguely.
like bosses, and I know that like you're chasing down the Eye of Odin. Which
I don't think I played it.
I didn't own it. I had rented it.
Oh.
So I didn't play the hell out of it. It's more of like I got to rent it, and I'm like, man, this game is fucking great. And then it was like never anywhere for me to own as like in my personal collection or whatever. So the day it comes out, I'll definitely be buying that one.
So, I mean, let me know how it is. Nick, are our video reviews or our movie and episode reviews, is it reviving old series and games? We did one on Alone in the Dark.
I think we happened to pick this up at such a time that it was re-entering the public
Popularity.
I don't think it's ever been unpopular because I've always liked it.
No.
But at the same time, I think it's just kind of Disney has kind of like shelved it, and then they're realizing that like, oh shit, people are interested in this stuff. Because if you go to like the comic store, they're selling like a Darkwing Duck comic. I think I even saw like a Hades comic. So if you want to, I don't know, learn about Hades, which
Hades, like the game?
Hades, like the guy in Hercules, the cartoon,
Like the god of the underworld?
the flaming hair.
God, what's his name? Wood?
James
Wood.
Yeah.
Where does James Wood fit into this?
So I guess an aside, but it's October. By the time this is up, go check it out. I mean, the video I saw like had like Switch, PlayStation, Xbox, Steam, all listed there. So hopefully, I mean, I've not checked immediately here, but I mean, check your game console of choice.
Sega, send us money.
Maybe it's there.
We've got to be the only people sponsoring this game, or like at least talking about this game.
I mean, you can give me money if you want, but I'm pushing it anyway.
No, Sega can what Nintendo don't. That was that line was so fucking. Did you remember that?
I didn't remember that, but you say it, I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah. Genesis can, Sega can what Nintendo don't. That was a fucking. I remember when I was young and they did that shit on a commercial. I was like, ooh, shit.
But I remember there was like the Sega Genesis, whatever came out. I'm like, man, this looks pretty cool. And then I was playing it, and then like I was looking over the shoulder of all the people that got to have Nintendo 6 or not Nintendo 6, Super Nintendo. I'm like, man, those games look pretty fucking cool. And I was just playing my little games or whatever. Like, man, this Aladdin game's okay. Man, your Aladdin game looks fucking better. Okay.
But, I mean,
it's like, what do you have? Final Fantasy.
But the Genesis, as far as I can remember, came out before.
I don't think before
the Super Nintendo. I'm pretty sure it did. I remember Ralph had you can look it up. We can go to the fucking.
Yeah, that's
we can go to the internet and double check this. But I remember Ralph had a Sega Genesis, and I used to love playing some games on it. Like they had a game called Herzog's Y, and they had fucking Phantasy Star on that shit.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure it came out first.
October 29th, 1988. So pretty close
Okay.
to when this episode will be out. Now let's look at the Super Nintendo. $1990, huh? November 21st, 1990. So 2 years. Okay.
Yeah, Sega was ahead of the curve.
Okay.
For a while.
So back in the day, whenever we get it, my parents would get us a console. We got one. Mm-hmm. So like when the Super Nintendo and the Genesis were fighting each other, we got one of them. When N64 and PlayStation was battling, we got one of them. And I always feel like I made the wrong choice because in this particular instance, I like the Sega Genesis or the Super Nintendo. The Super Nintendo had a lot of games I wanted to play. Mm-hmm. I wanted to play like Super Metroid and like the platformer games like Super Mario World look so fucking cool. There's a bunch of games on Super Nintendo that look fucking dope. So when the new one came out, like Nintendo 64 or whatever this PlayStation thing is, I'm like, well, last time I didn't bet on Nintendo, and I missed out on all these cool games. So I got the Nintendo 64, and like there was a lot of cool shit on there. Mm-hmm. But then like PlayStation was putting out like, how do you feel about Final Fantasy VII? what do you feel about Final Fantasy 8, 9, and I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, these games look so fucking cool. He's like, how do you feel about Castlevania, one of your favorite games ever? I'm like, I don't have a fucking PlayStation.
I know what I know what you're saying. Like, when I was a kiddo, everyone had Ataris. And my dad bought me a ColecoVision. I have never known another person that's ever had a ColecoVision. Have you even heard of a ColecoVision?
I don't know if I've heard of it.
So
I've heard of Atari. We used to have an Atari.
Yeah, so back in the console wars, my father bought me a ColecoVision. And, like, Atari games looked like dog shit. The Coleco looked exactly like they did in the game rooms.
Okay, not like the arcade cabinets.
Yeah, like the old cabinet games. They had a game on there called, I think it was called Zaxxon.
Okay.
I'd have to double check that, but it had Zaxxon on it, and the fucking controllers for the ColecoVisions, instead of being like a joystick or whatever, it was this pad that you held that had a big fucking, like, it's almost like the thumb pads on the new PlayStations now.
Okay.
And then it had like 1 through fucking 10. It had like a grid that had all the numbers.
So it's kind of like a remote sort of thing with like
you held it and you fucking did like the thumb pad, and then it had triggers on either side of it.
Okay.
And then it had a fucking like.
Because I think I've seen the Intellivision controller that's like a little remote thing with like a little wheel thing at the top or whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean, Zaxxon. I think this is So.
Okay.
Or maybe it was ZAXXON. But like I remember it had Zaxxon on it, and like that game was fucking dope. It was great, and it looked exactly like it did in the fucking arcades from my memory. Now there's some fucking Coleco historian who's watching this being like, I believe the graphics were off by like 3.6 bits.
Well, I also remember buying an N64, running around in 3D and being like, this game is so realistic. So I mean, it's kind of colored by the fact that like I'm used to playing games like X, and then like the new technology comes out and it's a step above, and you're kind of like, oh shit, this thing's amazing.
But that was, I think that's what makes me like commiserate with you on like you had one but not the other, because I remember I got the Coleco and I was like, oh man, and like everyone else had fucking Ataris, but I thought my games looked amazing and their games looked like shit. And then what was it? I think the Sega CD came out, and I was like, I really want a Sega CD. And then my dad ended up buying a 3DO.
Okay.
Which I believe was like one of the first disc players. Because I played a game on it called YS.
Okay, that sounds familiar.
And it was one of the first games I ever played that had fully animated sequences that were voice acted. And I was just like, holy shit.
Oh, yeah.
But nobody else had one. So it's like you can't trade games with people and shit. It was just weird. It was a weird time.
Yeah.
But my parents were the same way. And I think my dad always just bought like the high end of what was out there. But it was the thing that never won the console war. You know? It's weird.
Yeah, it didn't have didn't have the games that you wanted per se.
Yeah. But sorry for that small tangent.
Go buy Gargoyles on Steam, hopefully by now.
Sega sent us money.
Is there more we want to say about Grief? Grief is good.
Not really. There's not a lot to say about Grief, other than the fact that it had a very poignant message. It was very interesting. The animation was beautiful. I honestly believe if we go back and watch this series and every episode we're like, oh man, the animation is fucking outstanding, we could probably track it down to one particular studio.
Probably.
But yeah, no. I think we're done with Grief.
Grief's good.
Moving on to Kingdom.
Yep.
Oh boy, Kingdom. You already got me locked in, right?
Yeah.
Oh boy, Kingdom. Oh boy. All right. Let's see. What do I think, Nick Cave? Kingdom. Let's go with this. All right.
All right. You ready?
Yes.
I think I'm actually going to give this one a 4, because this is like one of the first episodes of Gargoyles that I kind of don't like.
Okay. I thought you were going to say a 6.
What about you?
Kingdom. I am going to say... This one's tough. You know I don't like...
Yeah, see, I had it between 2 numbers.
I'm going to give this one a 5.
Okay. I mean, that's what I was going for, but I'm like, I don't know, Hudson's got a pretty cool Hudson bits in it.
I love me
so
some Hudson.
I figured I'd go for a 6.
Yeah, and I think that's the only reason it gets such a high score is just for the fact of Hudson. I liked him pushing.
And every time like Brooklyn is kind of like, I don't know if I want to be a leader, and he's kind of like, well, I mean, do what you want. I guess I'll be inside, and chilling or whatever, and kind of like trying to slightly edge him into like stepping up and becoming a leader.
Yeah,
like all these people are around you are making decisions you think are bad, but because you don't want to be a leader, you're not stepping forward and saying, oh, guys, that's a bad decision.
Yep.
It's like, Xanatos has something to do with it. Let's go tell Xanatos that our friends are missing. It's like, no, we shouldn't tell.
I believe we're doing this the wrong way. And he's like, well, if you want to lead, then step up, kind of. And that was Talon telling him that.
Oh, yeah. It's like, if you want to be in charge of this, do something, boy.
Yeah. But I mean, this is the first episode I've liked Talon. I can't stand him.
Yeah.
And he didn't have a good start with me because I hated Elisa's brother because he's a fucking dumbass.
Yep.
And then this was the first episode where I've kind of really respected him.
Well, it's kind of him and Brooklyn have kind of a mirror journey in this, where Talon was kind of trying to take the stance of there are no leaders down here, like no one man stands above the rest of us, and that kind of leads to like chaos or whatever. Like you just let Talon or whatever fuck off, and
they do whatever the fuck they want to.
Fang do whatever he wants, and Claw kind of like following behind him
because he's scared of him. Yeah,
and so you can't take that stance of it. You need to step up and lead. And then Brooklyn is kind of like, he doesn't want to be a leader, but everyone's confused. They're not sure what's going on. And I mean, Hudson could take over, but he's been leader. His time is done and past.
Yeah,
he knows that Goliath wants Brooklyn to lead.
Yeah, because he needs to get that. He needs to get that green skin off of him. He needs to step up and put the mantle on for a while. And usually it's okay, and that's what a lot of people will do whenever it comes to like a master and apprentice. You serve as an apprentice to kind of get the feel of it, then you get to step up before you become the master while the master is still around to help guide your hand. And that's what Goliath's doing. Kind of like what Hudson did for Goliath. So
yeah, what Hudson did for Goliath, Hudson is now also doing for Brooklyn.
Yeah. I mean, because he's so awesome. You can't kill Hudson. He's fucking dope.
Hudson's dope.
He's my favorite.
So I guess I'm not super interested in the mutates, and I'm not super big into the trio. They're fun, but they're not the episodes I'm more focused on. And then on top of that, you add that kind of wonky animation. And this particular episode kind of led me down the path of like, I could see skipping this episode.
Me too. But the reason I would say to watch it is because you get some of the fucking all the characters.
Yeah, like what's going on in like Manhattan after this whole Avalon thing.
Yeah, I miss David Xanatos and his I read the script. And
you definitely get that this episode when another scene I don't really like when they go to his castle and he's just like, I've got lasers, and he just starts shooting his own castle trying to hit him.
And he doesn't even say anything.
And then at the end, like when Broadway and Brooklyn kind of crash to the
he's sitting behind the desk.
Sitting behind the desk with the archchain.
It's so bad.
Gentlemen, it's good to see you. I'm like, this is weird.
Nice of you to drop in.
Yeah.
Nice one, asshole.
I mean, I do like that we get to see Owen kind of putting the fist to use for a minute.
Yeah.
Kind of being like, guess what kind of moves I've got? Stone fist.
And it was even kind of, I think my favorite line of the episode was, where is Goliath? And where's Elisa? And he was like, I don't fucking know. And they're like, he's missing. They've been missing. And he looks at Owen and goes, what an interesting development.
Yeah.
Like, I loved that line. Anyone could have seen at that point and been like, they really don't know.
Oh, yeah. And you just gave them like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
We can get up to some schemes. Who's going to stop us?
Yeah, you gave us some huge information, dog. Thank you. It's a decent episode.
And I think there's moments that are cool. And it's worth the initial watch. On future watches, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'd wave. I'd hand wave it by.
Yeah, I don't know.
But you get to see what's going on with Matt Bluestone. You get to see what's going on with fucking David Xanatos. Like, that was the biggest thing. I miss Lexington. I missed Hudson.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see those characters. That's the only thing I hate about the Avalon series, because it almost feels like everybody at the same time said, we can't be on the show.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, well, then we'll just fall back to Elisa and Goliath and Angela and fucking go from there.
We'll tell these new globe-trotting stories, but you can't do that with literally everyone.
Yeah.
It's just a bit too much to have all of your thing, and then I guess we're on a plane visiting us now. These are the group we can fit on a boat.
Right.
We'll give Goliath and Angela some bonding time, and Lisa and Goliath some bonding time, and then Bronx is there. It's just kind of the...
Just stretch the boat out a little and put the main team on there, man. Fuck. So, of course, you have the normal cast that was the characters. Edward Asner as Hudson. But you had Jim Belushi as Fang. You had Rocky Carroll as Talon.
Which I do think he's got a great voice.
He does. He's got a very great voice, but I just wish he was a better character.
Yeah.
Maggie is Kath Sochi. And, of course, you have the legendary Tom Wilson, Biff Tannen, as Matt Bluestone. Yeah, it's worth one watch.
Yeah.
Just to find out what's going on. I would also say don't watch it in the Disney order.
It definitely makes more sense in release order, because this would have been Avalon, Shadows of the Past, Hereditary. Is it not Hereditary? That's Heritage.
Right.
And then Kingdom. So you kind of get like, they just left, and then everyone was like, hey, where are they? It's not like there's been 8 episodes or whatever of them being gone, and then them being like, hey, where are they? It's kind of like it happened pretty quick. It happened before Monsters.
Watch them in the Disney order, right?
This would be I guess the intended order, air quotes.
See,
on Disney Plus, Kingdom is way...
So these are the release dates.
Yeah. Disney Plus is putting it in the order it was shown on TV. Because if you look on IMDb, like Heritage goes from March 27th, 1995.
To
Kingdom,
February 5th.
February 5th, 1996.
And then Monsters...
Back to November 1995.
Yeah, that's... Why?
So I'm assuming on DVDs and stuff, that's where Kingdom belongs. But when it comes time for release... I don't know why, as a producer or whatever, being like, no, we need to put the punchy episodes, not this little one where we go back. I don't fucking know.
So which one should you watch? Should you watch the Disney order, or should you watch the IMDb order?
I don't think it matters. Like, watch whatever is most convenient to you. I am not going to go to Disney Plus, that, this episode's supposed to be there, skip forward, and then go back. If that's what you're into, go for it. But I know people have told you to watch Clone Wars in chronological order. Like, that's a fucking headache. Don't do that shit. Just watch it. Okay?
I think you told me just watch it.
Yeah, just watch it.
And James said watch the order, like he had a hatchet order.
Yeah, you watch it like in the chronology of when it happens.
Right.
It jumps around. Like, we're going to tell the story that happened in this part of the Clone Wars. Well, now we're going to go back and tell this story in the Clone Wars. Now we're going to have some in row, but now we're going to, and it's like hopping around a little bit. And it can be a little confusing, but at the same time, just watch it how it is.
It's a cartoon. I'll watch that shit.
It's Star Wars. Or it's Star Wars. You'll figure that shit out. It's not complicated.
But I think we're done talking about this particular episode.
Yeah, I think we hit the highlights. It's got some highlights, and then the animation is weird. Oh, I guess we could talk about the gloves on.
Oh.
So they're just animation errors that, they're always going to happen. Mm-hmm. But when the episode's looking a little wonky and you see Hudson standing there and he's broad as shit, and both of his eyes are white rather than the scarred eye
one
being
yellow. Yeah.
And then when Brooklyn goes down to the subway and they're kind of harassing the homeless guy or whatever, and he's wearing gloves, and then like his hands are up and you see the gloves disappear and they're flesh colored, and then he's like talking a little bit, then they go back to being gloves
in mid fall or whatever.
Well, it's like on screen. It's not like they went down and then came back up on frame like someone. Yeah. Like you would imagine, like I'm drawing him, his hands are down. Oh, well, I need to draw his hands back up. I guess he's wearing gloves in this one. Or like how you just draw them, like they disappear and they come back.
Yeah, there's 80 frames where someone forgot to color in the gloves.
But it's on screen. It flops to flesh colored, and then it flops back on screen.
To gloves. Yeah, it's weird. Plus, facial expressions in this episode are fucking weird.
It's not my favorite.
No,
animation style. Like we go from Grief to this one, you can kind of feel it.
But the thing was that I did get the impression of is that it wasn't like they were cheaping out on the frames.
It doesn't even look. It's not that it looks bad, because
it looks camp.
It looks weird because you see, even like the Cagney meow animation. Mm-hmm. Like when Broad was like, "Oh, poor Cagney hasn't been fed in a few days," and then it was like, "Meow."
Yeah,
where it's like that full kind of like animation. Like it's not just like it's staying still meow. It's like they animated the whole body of it, so
It wasn't for lack of putting in the work to draw it. It was just it looked fucking weird.
I think it looks off model.
And that's what got me is like, what was it? I was like, damn, that's the thick boy or something like that.
When you look at Hudson and he was just
Hudson was like standing like this, and you could see his hair, and his neck was like, whoa.
Oh yeah, you had the beard, and you could see the neck on both sides of the beard.
Yeah,
like, he's fucking thick.
Yeah, that dude's neck is a fucking tree trunk.
And that's just, I think what it is. It's off model. It looks off model.
Yeah, but I mean, it was fine.
Yeah, it's just not my favorite.
Yeah, not our favorite episode. So, all right, moving on to the Hounds of Ulster.
The Hounds of Ulster. Let's see, you gave that one. I think I'm gonna go with this one.
Hounds of Ulster.
Is it single? Yeah, just one hound. The Hound of Ulster. I need to remember.
Okay, let's give Nick that.
I need to remember myself because I think I got my number in my head, but I want to make sure it's consistent.
Yeah. Well, no, if I change it, I'm going to be wrong. So I'm just going to lock in. I'm just going to I'm going to commit. I'm going to commit.
Yeah, I think I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm going to give the Hound of Ulster a 6. There you go.
3 out of 4 ain't bad. Bam.
What about you, Lance?
Hounds of Ulster, I'm going to give this a 6.
Goddamn, the one time I don't pick 6. 7. I figure you might like a Bronx episode, because this one's a Bronx episode.
I love Bronx, don't get me wrong, but I didn't feel like the episode warranted it to be called The Hound of Ulster. It was...
It's more about...
it was about Cobb salad.
Well, it's about Cullen.
Oh, yeah, Cobb... What'd I say?
Cobb salad.
Okay, no, I was
about Cullen, which I don't know the legend very well. I was kind of like, while you were sitting there watching, I was flipping through IMDb.
Yeah.
Apparently, the Hound of Ulster is Cullen in the actual legend. They're the same person.
Okay, well, I mean, what the fuck? He had a dog in this episode?
It's just, you're going through various legends and like, oh, Cullen, that's a cool guy. And he got the Hound of Ulster, and you're like, we've got a hound on our boat.
We don't do much with him, and I'm sure that people would really like to see us do something with Bronx.
Let's have a Bronx episode where everyone else gets stuck in a peat bog and saved by the Banshee and stuck in a cairn.
And the Banshee's like, bah, dog.
I'm gonna spit the dog out.
But yeah,
I wonder if she let him go in an attempt to try to like lure him so he can kind of like, maybe I can dissuade him from becoming Cullen or something like that, or who knows.
I mean, to me, it brought him further into it.
It did. But I wonder if it's kind of like get him a little bit closer and maybe like
let's scare him.
Scare him away from his destiny or something. I don't know.
So what was the point of when she was walking and she heard the oh, like in the beginning of the episode, he's walking, he hears the thing and sees the bug.
Sees the death worm.
And then it goes to her as she's walking and she hears the bay of like, why is she still putting up the act if she's by herself?
Who knows?
Like, that's just weird. Isn't it weird?
It's probably for the audience.
Yeah, probably. But it's just, I thought that was weird where he saw something, she heard something, and she's just like,
So maybe that's her day job. She walk like during the day or whatever. She's like, I'm Molly, and she's just walking around as Molly. And
she's like Demona,
or just whatever. It's more of like you're immortal. It's more of like Owen and Puck. It's kind of like, Molly. I made up Molly. Molly's fun. Okay. And then you're out walking at night and you hear the hound. You're like, oh shit, is he gonna become Cullen? Let me go back there and scare him to make him think he doesn't need to become the Cullen again or some shit.
If you're a banshee, like, kill someone at a bank, take a bunch of money. You don't like your dad. Let's hop on a plane right now and leave the town that has your fucking tomb in it that can make you wake up and take me the fuck out.
That's also not fun. I think
it's flirting with disaster, bro.
Yeah, it's. I think being immortal, it's fun to pretend to be a shitty little mortal. I guess I don't know.
I guess, and like Colmini was wasted in this episode. Like he should have been the voice of Cullen, or something. Like Colmini was just like badgering Dad. I'm disappointed in my son. You do anything today? Well, eat my food. And
I guess another Star Trek connection.
Yes, yeah.
Who is he?
He is Miles O'Brien in Star Trek. Deep Space Nine.
Is it for?
He was in Next Generation.
Okay. He was the old beam up tech robot.
Yeah, he was the transporter officer. And he's a staple. I think he's been in 2, if not 3, different iterations of fucking Star Trek. So
I wonder if that's kind of like you're on the set of Star Trek, being like, man, I'm doing this cartoon, and you're like, oh shit. It's like, why don't you come in and do a weekend, and kind of come in and do like a few lines, and then get your paycheck, and be like, oh, it's fun.
Ooh, double royalties from 2 different shows.
Oh yeah.
Don't mind if I do. But this blew my mind. Hopefully, it blows your mind, fellow watcher. So of course you had Bridget Bacco as Angela. You had Scott Cleverdon as Roy Dugan and Cucullin. Sheena Easton was the voice of Molly and the Banshee. Now, if you don't know who Sheena Easton is,
I didn't really.
until you looked it up, and then so I'll give you a hint. My baby takes the morning train. He works from 9 to 5, and then he takes another home again to find me watching Manchester football.
Manchester United, the greatest football team in all the land.
Woo! Sorry, a little bit of deep cut there, which was weird because it brought it full circle that she was in that episode, and it was fucking crazy.
Oh, she was in another. She did something else that linked back again. Click on her thing because it was at the end of that little description you were reading earlier.
So,
no strings.
what comes naturally? The lover in me. So, Jack's Place, The Adventures of Briscoe
Miami
County.
Vice.
Miami Vice.
Number one new show.
Number one new show.
That's what it was. All the Euro Trip. Go watch our Euro Trip episode. Or just watch Euro Trip.
Yeah, just watch Euro Trip and then go watch the episode that we did on Euro Trip.
It's a movie that's probably not good, but we love it.
And I think you'll love it too.
It's got charm.
It really does.
And it's very quotable.
And not only that, but it's got like staying power too. Like
it's still funny.
We watched it way back in the day, and then we watched it like for the review.
We watched it a fuck ton of times.
It's still fucking funny.
Still funny.
Yeah, every single time. It's one of those. I'd say top 10 movies for me.
It's really fucking good.
Yeah.
Just like when he's doing the little scene with the little girl, whatever, and they're in Germany, and he got told that Germans love David Hasselhoff. So like when the music's coming on and it's David Hasselhoff, we still do that.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah.
It's good. Go watch Euro Trip.
Go watch Euro Trip. So you you had Cole Meany as Mr. Dugan, Miles O'Brien. And then Frank Welker, as always, is the voice of Bronx.
Put in work this time.
Yeah, this man he was the Alan Tudyk of that day. He was Mr. fucking animal sound effects back in the day. This guy could do anything. Frank Welker's got a long...
is he just doing his thing is animal noises? Was he a Scooby-Doo?
So he's been in so many different things. He was Shockwave in the Transformers movie, Shao Kahn in the fucking Mortal Kombat movie. He's in Teen Titans Go. He was Nibbler in fucking Futurama. And that all Nibbler does is, you know. Yeah. He was Ralph, the fucking security guard in Animaniacs.
I don't remember.
I don't think I should let you out of the lot. He was the big fucking sloppy security guard.
I don't barely remember.
Apparently he's in the new Velma show as William.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, please don't request that one.
I've seen it. He won't, and I won't make him watch it.
I don't want to watch it. If you request it, I'll watch it. But do me a favor. If you're coming in here just to make my life hell,
it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Spoiler: it's not worth it.
Yeah, like this dude, he did fucking Scooby-Doo's voice.
Yeah, he's Scooby-Doo, okay.
Yeah, he did Curious George's voice.
I didn't know Scooby-Doo was Bronx. That's kind of interesting.
This dude loves doing dogs.
Or that's kind of... I wonder if it's, again, you get typecast like with Tom Hanks being a nice man. It's kind of like, hey, you did that dog in that show, right? Be a dog in our show. It's like, okay.
I guess I gotta.
It's what I Scooby-Dooby-Doo.
Okay. I'll give it that. That was pretty good. Just like Fred Tatasciore, like it's like that guy's also got a huge fucking long
catalog of
a super long catalog of just fucking amazing voices and sound effects. But that's about it.
So I like that. I like the Hound of Ulster. It's kind of good.
It was nothing to write home about, but it was.
It's neat. I like the Banshee. I like the animation style where she's kind of like ethereal, but then she's also wearing that kind of like gossamer cloak. So even though she's also see through, she's wearing this kind of like thing where you can see like the shape of her body through it. Like, that's a cool effect.
It is
and
cool.
Then like all of her little screaming or whatever, being like she can mysticize people or kind of just yell and be loud.
Yeah, she can destroy she could turn your brain into fucking jello, or she could fucking like ensorcel you.
Then she drops the what was that? You think of Avalon, and pretty soon Oberon's going to call his family back. He's doing the gathering or whatever. So that's kind of like sprinkle that little foreshadowing. I guess Salt Bay that down on you.
I don't know. I mean, I caught the reference.
Yeah.
I caught the information.
She mentions the gathering, which I think in 3 months we'll finally get around to the gathering.
So that's about
12-ish episodes.
8. Yeah, about 12. Anywhere. Yeah, about 12 to 16 episodes from now.
Let's see. The Gathering Part 1 is episode 44.
Oh yeah, no, we're still
we're a bit away. We just finished 32, so yeah, we're 12-ish episodes away.
So you nailed it on the head. You said 12 episodes. You nailed it on the head.
Yeah. So Walkabout, Mark of the Panther, Sentinel, and Pendragon 1.
Spoilers.
And then blah 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 blah.
Spoilers. No.
Well, that is upcoming next.
I don't want to know. I'm still looking for my favorite episode, the one that stands out to me. I have not seen it yet, and I know I've explained it to you.
Have you? I mean, you probably have, but it's been...
I don't think it's too spoilery. It was the one where Lexington was the bad guy.
Yeah, that one's upcoming.
Yeah,
you might have a few months.
Okay, I mean, that's fine. But that's the episode that sticks in my mind the most. Because really and truly, Lexington could fucking own everybody if he wanted to. With his technical skills and his smarts and his brilliance, he could fucking destroy everyone on that team.
Does that mean your favorite Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle is Donatello?
No. My favorite Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle is Leonardo. I like Leo. I also, and my second favorite would be, well, hold on. My first favorite is Leonardo. What's yours?
I don't like the Ninja Turtles.
I can't talk to you. Why do I do movie reviews with you?
I mean, back when I was younger, it used to be Raphael.
Yeah.
I don't know if that... I'd have to rewatch stuff. Like, so, I grew out of liking it.
So back in the day, I used to like Raphael too because he's fucking dope.
He was like the little, fuck everybody, I'm gonna go off on my own and fucking brood.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that guy's cool.
But I always liked Leo because when I'd gotten older, I like Leo because he walks the line of trying to keep the team in control, but he also has to try and keep himself in control. And I don't know where it is. I wish I could find it, but I read something months ago that said that Splinter completely knew what the fuck he was doing because he gave weapons. He saw the temperament of his sons and gave them weapons that went in the other direction of what their temperaments was. He gave them weapons that he knew would help tamp them down and focus them. Leonardo has something that can fucking literally take lives with a sweep of the blade.
And he punches with it.
Yeah, but he punches with it, he hits with the hilt, he hits with the back of the sword. So, like, and I don't remember where it was, but it was such a fantastic read. I don't know who wrote it. It was probably just, like, random shithouse poet somewhere on the fucking internet.
So there is an old Far Side comic with a bunch of cows, and it says, if cows made tools, and there's a table with a few tools on it. And a couple look familiar, and then the rest are just kind of gibberish.
Right.
And kind of people saw that thing and be like, oh, well, that's the cow version of like a shovel, and that's like a cow version of a fork. So then they started filling in the blanks of what those other tools might be. And when, what was that guy's name who did Far Side? But when he was asked about it, he was kind of like...
Gary Larson?
Yeah, Gary Larson was like, no, it's just some shapes I made. It just kind of goes to show that if you give people enough, like, this is what their shovel would be, and this is like what their fork might be, and then you have a bunch of other gibberish. People are going to look at that gibberish and go, well, then this probably does this, and I bet this does this, and fill in the blanks themselves. And then at the end, you can be like, you guys got it. You're so fucking clever. You picked out everything I did. And then you look smart by letting everyone else do the work for you.
Interesting.
So I wonder, they just like, put swords in his hand, and then they're like, oh, fucking his temperament is such that, and then you kind of fill in the blanks, and then at the end of it, they can be like, man, you guys nailed it. Someone finally picked up on the secret meaning of the weapons I put in their hand. Just like, oh, look, guy with nunchucks.
I mean, honestly, that's probably what it was. Like, they probably just... So, the old school Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles... I hate to be this fucking guy again, I'm sorry. But the old school Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles...
Like the old comic books, whatever.
The comic books, they were literally black and white with just red bandanas. Mm-hmm. All of them had red bandanas. They didn't have fucking L's and R's and D's and M's on their belts. Mm-hmm. They all looked the same. The only way you distinguished them was their fucking weapons.
And wasn't it like murderous as shit?
Yeah, they weren't murderous, but like they basically didn't take any shit.
Once you had swords, you'd cut people with swords.
Like Foot Clan was not fucking robots.
Yeah.
You know, like Baxter Stockman was a black gentleman who got fucking aced. Like, I know I'm probably gonna have a hard time talking you into it, but like the Mutant Mayhem movie, it's really good. And I know I'm probably not going to be able to get you to watch it, but I watched it the other day. I turned it on for Jackson. He watched the first 20 minutes of it and was just like, meh. And I sat there for the rest of the thing like... Because they kind of get back into the heart of what Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was. They make it a lot more campy. But like, at least they took the formula and just made it funnier and like stuck with the color scheme of the cartoons.
Well, there's a series we have in which you could force me to watch it, because otherwise I ain't watching it. I
don't know if that's going to be one of my gimmies. Like,
I've not had the interest to revisit Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles since I was younger. I think I've tried to go back to it for something. I'm like, I'm just not.
Well,
I'm just not feeling it.
It's not going to help me if I make you watch it, because all you're going to do is give it a 5, and I'm just going to sit here for the rest of the video like...
Well, I know that there is the old school movie, and then Michael Bay redid one.
You're right. That would be a triple. That'd be a triple.
Oh, is this one a reboot of it again?
Yeah.
Oh.
So we'd have to watch the Michael Bay one, the original fucking one, and then we'd have to watch Mutant Mayhem. That's a lot in a week.
It is. We could keep it live action and then animated be its own thing. Because that feels like a different genre at that point in time.
I would really be curious on which way that would go. I'm going to go ahead and guess that you would pick the original movies, then the cartoon, and then the Michael Bay shit.
I've never seen the Michael Bay one.
I have. I'll keep it because we might potentially do it. I'll keep that one close to the chest.
Yeah, right.
Hey, you want to watch these movies?
I mean, here's another, like we brought up Superman. We brought up Ninja Turtles. I mean, give us ideas.
Please watch our channel. Please. At least make YouTube put commercials on this shit so we can, like, get a dime.
Yeah, let's get sponsored by Sega. Pumping out their Gargoyles game.
Yeah, I'd love to have one of those.
If you want people pumping out your Gargoyles game, I mean, look, now, I'm already buying your stuff. Well, I guess not Sega. I'm buying Disney stuff.
Sega sent us money.
You're welcome, Disney.
But
you need more of my money.
Right? But this episode was good.
It was good. It was okay.
It wasn't my favorite.
I like the Banshee. Banshee was fun. I don't really like the Deathwing. It was kind of weird looking.
Yeah, but I mean, of the block of 4, this was my third favorite one of them. Kingdom, least favorite.
Grief favorite.
Grief was my favorite.
Grief, MIA, Hound of Ulster.
Yes.
Okay.
That would have been my order on these. But like, I know that we've watched some stinkeroos in the past episodes that we've watched. But, like, I feel like these were, like, the best of the bunch so far.
Yeah, it's a nice little chunk of 4 I think we got going on.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the Avalon block we did was a lot of fun.
Avalon. That was, they all connected.
Yeah. We did 3 of Avalon, then one for Shadow of the Past.
Avalon.
And whereas, like, I really liked the Sanctuary episode, but that was amongst Golem and monsters and, like, Heritage. Like, really only Sanctuary kind of stood out.
It was weird. But yeah,
is there any more we want to add about the Hound of Ulster?
It's high time that fucking Bronx got his own episode.
Oh yeah,
and it wasn't really even his own episode.
I don't know if we see a Bronx episode again in the canon series. I think he has one in season 3, which is the Goliath Chronicles that the comics and such forth have since kind of like overwritten. It's not canon.
The comics aren't?
No, the 3rd season of Gargoyles.
Oh, yeah, no. Canon. If you give something... So it worried me, because I know that you started watching The Orville, right?
I finished the Orville.
Okay, so the first 2 seasons, the Orville was called The Orville.
Yeah, and the Orville New Horizons.
Yeah, and that worried me because I thought they were going to get away from what the show was.
It's even like when that first episode, I was really worried too because they kind of like did this whole look at all our new money we had to put towards this thing. I'm like, it doesn't feel very good anymore.
Mm-hmm. But it got back to what it was.
It got better.
I think the storylines are a little deeper in the third season because
it got more interesting. I think because I think the third season was the one with guy goes back in time, and then they have to go back and
yes.
Okay.
Well, let's not ruin that.
Yeah. But so I mean, there's good stuff in the third season eventually. Whereas at the beginning of it, I'm kind of like, ooh, I don't know.
Well, the first 2 seasons funny and somewhat heavy content. Third season not as funny, but the content was still very heavy.
It's still pretty good.
But I think that's when Fox when Hulu got it. I think Hulu took the shackles. Where Fox was like, you're funny fart guy from Family Guy, but be funny and make farts. In the first 2 seasons of the Orville, and then like the third season, it was given to Hulu, and they're just like, just write. Write what you want to, because I don't know if a lot of people know it, Seth MacFarlane is in love with fucking like Star Trek. He loves Star Trek.
Watch the Orville and you'll find that shit out.
Yeah, if you like The Next Generation, watch the Orville. Wonderful show.
So I'm not really a big fan of Star Trek, or the Orville's worth watching. I especially like that I didn't need a fuck ton of context because I've finished the 2 seasons of Strange New Worlds and I've watched some of the Lower Decks. I don't know what the fuck is going on in Star Trek to where they're referencing shit. I'm like, I don't fucking know.
So they've bounced around a lot of stuff. I have not watched any of the Strange New Worlds. I want to because I love Christopher Pike. I think he's an interesting character, and I think it's very interesting what they're doing with the show, and I want to find out what direction they're going with it. But I did have a spoiler happen where I saw that I won't say the guy's name, but there's a particular actor who showed up in the show recently that's on Lower Decks.
Okay.
And I've watched Lower Decks. I love Lower Decks. But I saw that this particular actor was on an episode of Star Trek, and I was like, I wonder if he's playing the character from Lower Decks, which legitimizes fucking Lower Decks, which that blows my fucking mind because Lower Decks is so fucking campy. It's so like tongue in cheek. It almost you have watched Lower Decks
again. I've only seen a little bit of it, and also I think we're done with our talk about Gargoyles. We're off topic talking about Star Trek related things.
Yeah, now we're just shooting the shit.
Yeah.
Sorry, we keep dragging y'all into this.
So next week, or I guess next month, we've got 33 Walkabout, 34 Mark of the Panther, 35 Sentinel, and then 36 Pendragon.
Sounds like a bad group. It's gonna be bad. Look at the scores. We're in for it.
I like one of those episodes.
I'm gonna guess.
And the other ones they're not bad.
I'm gonna guess you like Pendragon. Just for who I can see in the still. Looks like it's a Demona episode. Is that Demona? Was that Arthur?
And Pendragon?
Oh, okay. I didn't put it together. All right, I got it now.
Okay, so I think on Disney Plus it should be the same, but if not, I've told you the ones that we're watching. So
watch them and meet us here next month.
Actually, I shouldn't be looking at IMDb, but I think everything is like copacetic now. We're not off kilter anymore. I don't think any more episodes bank us off.
I think you could have just looked at the dates, right?
Release anymore. Yeah, man, I could have done that too.
Just in case, we want to make sure that you're with us.
So I'm going to the old Disney Plus.
The old glory hole.
You get my super jokes.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, my Walkabout, Mark of the Panther, Sentinel, Pendragon are also on Disney Plus.
All right, so we're still in lockstep.
We're in lockstep. All right. So join us next month. Thank you for joining us this month.
Yeah. It's been fun.
And join us next week. Because, it's spooky month. And why don't we put out a spooky movie?
Do we want to give a hint?
No.
Well, just tune back in.
Yeah.
Because we're going to watch the spookiest movie ever made.
No.
Cats.
No, that's traumatizing, not spooky.
I'm still, I get up in the morning and if I hear, any kind of show tunes, I'm just like...
The worst thing is we've got a weekly reminder of the Cats movie sitting in front of us.
We kept them in the day. It's like having the blank card
Yeah. On the back, like when we're hiding on the bottom, you can barely see the thing soak through.
Yeah.
Which does not give away.
Yeah, like if I decided that Nick was going to do a 5, I'd put the rest of them on the back, and you can vaguely see the 4 through.
But not if you put the 11.
So if we felt like cheating, we could look and be like, oh, that's what he picked.
But then we'd be lying about the score.
Yeah, and we don't want to do that. But still, it keeps us honest if we keep the 11 on the back.
And I just put my phone on it.
Yep. Now you know our trade secrets.
I know. We're giving them all away.
Yeah.
So I guess join us next week for something fun for Halloween.
Yeah. Or don't. It's your life.
But please do.
But please do.
Hopefully it'll be worth your time.
If we get commercials, just commercials on this thing, it just legitimizes us a little bit. I'd love to see one of those big fucking YouTube plaques sitting back here, but we're just two white jamokes sitting around talking about shit that we like watching on TV. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, it'll be a bet.
I'll show my balls.
Okay, bye everybody.